الحمد لله حمدا كثيرا طيبا مباركا فيه كما يحب ربنا ويرضى. أشهد أن لا إله إلا الله وحده لا شريك له، وأشهد أن محمدا عبده ورسوله الناصح الأمين. اللهم صل على نبينا محمد وعلى آله وصحبه أجمعين ومن تمسك بسنته إلى يوم الدين. ثم أما بعد، الحمد لله على نعمة الإسلام والسنة. All praise and thanks belong to Allah for guiding us to Islam and for guiding us to the Sunnah. We continue reflecting on very important matters in light of the Quran and the Sunnah, and focusing on 10 traits of good character. 10 traits of good character. Alhamdulillah, we have reached the fifth trait, the fifth characteristic of good character, the fifth trait, the fifth characteristic of good manners, and that is as relates to the manners of going to sleep. The manners of going to sleep and the etiquette of going to sleep. The Musannif, وفقه الله, he says, Al-Khamis, and fifthly, إذا أتيت مضجعك فتوضأ ونم على شقك الأيمن واتلو آية الكرسي مرة واجمع كفيك واقرأ فيهما سورة الإخلاص والمعوذتين وانفث فيهما وامسح بهما ما استطعت من جسدك تفعل ذلك ثلاثا. The author, حفظه الله تعالى, he mentions, he says, and when you retire to your bed, and when you retire to your bed, then make wudu, and then lay down and sleep on your right side, and recite Ayatul Kursi one time, and put your hands together and recite therein Suratul Ikhlas and the last two chapters of the Quran, and spittle inside of your hands, blow inside of your hands with a light spittle, and wipe over your body as much as you're able to reach, and do this 3 times. And do this 3 times. The author, حفظه ta'ala, he mentions al-adab al-khamis, the fifth characteristic. The fifth characteristic. He mentions, he says, min adab al-ashara, from the 10 characteristics, and traits of good behavior. And he mentions that this is as relates to going to sleep at night and retiring when one is about to go to sleep. Right? معذرة. Now, he mentions that this is as relates to the adab, to the etiquette, and when one is going to retire to sleep at night. When one is going to retire to sleep at night. He says that inside of this there are 8 masail. There are 8 affairs. There are 8 issues that are linked to the proper etiquette of going to sleep. Now, and one may say that there are other things that could be mentioned, but he wants to highlight these particular affairs due to their extreme importance. And there are other supplications that could be mentioned prior to going to sleep. And it is encouraged that the students, that the listeners, that they will take the time, invest in themselves, and they learn the affairs that are mentioned if they are unaware of them, and they learn the affairs that are not mentioned from those supplications that are not mentioned, and they invest in themselves bithnillahi ta'ala, because this is from the ways that we enrich ourselves, that we invest in ourselves to better our lives. Naam. Ala kulli hal, he mentions, he says that there are 8 affairs that are linked to what he mentioned. So again, I encourage, like in other classes, I encourage every student, every listener to have a pen, to have a paper, so that they may write down some of these points, so they write down these points and these masail, so that they are able to enumerate them as being 8. Unless you have a photographic memory and the like, and you don't need to use a pen and paper to gather and to hold on to retain the information, then okay, alhamdulillah. But if this is not the case, then I advise you to have a pen, have a paper, have a writing instrument, whatever that writing instrument is, whether it's old-fashioned, whether it's digital, whatever, whatever is suitable for you as an individual, then so you get the information down, inshallah ta'ala, in the most comfortable and efficient manner for you as an individual. Okay, that makes sense? Like the Shaykh, he mentions, he says, فَالْمَسْأَلَةُ الْأُولَى, in the first affair, في قوله, is inside the statement of the author, إِذَا أَتَيْتَ مَضْجِعَكَ فَتَوَضَّأ. Firstly, what is intended by al-madji'? What is intended by this? Al-madji'. Wait. وَهُوَ مَحَلُّ النَّوْمِ. This is the place that a person sleeps. When? In the afternoon, in the morning. When? Bil-layl. Bil-layl. This is where a person, they sleep at nighttime. But now a person, they may say, where do we get this understanding? Because it was not mentioned at night. It was not mentioned a time of the day. The Shaykh, he mentions, and he brings a point from the language that we can benefit from bithnillahi ta'ala, and he mentions, he says, فَإِذَا أَطْلَقِ الْمَضْجِعِ, that عند العرب إذا أطلقت المضجع فتريد به محل النوم من الليل, that when the Arab, when they utilize this word مضجع, then what was intended by it was the place that you sleep at nighttime. It was intended by it the place that you sleep at nighttime. So if they said al-madji' alone like that, without linking it to anything else, then what was intended is where you go to sleep at night. Where you go to sleep at night. فإن جاء في عادة العرب, because it comes inside of the traditions and the customs of the Arab, أنها تأوي في النوم الليل إلى موضع واحدة أو واحد, is that in the Arab, from their customs, is that when they retire to go to sleep at night, then they will go to sleep at night in one place. إلى موضع واحد, they will sleep in one place. It was set. وأما في النوم النهار فإنهم لا يلزمون موضعا واحدا, but when it came to them sleeping in the daytime, then they didn't stick to just one place. So perhaps if they were shepherds, they will sleep in various different pastures as they were tending to their flocks. Or if they were, for example, merchants and they had stores and businesses, perhaps they may sleep at the business in the back, somewhere and the like. So during the daytime, they didn't sleep in just one place. So you'll find it was customary amongst the Arab that during the day they may sleep somewhere other than where they sleep at night. They may sleep somewhere other than in their bedroom. Okay, to put it in other ways, to phrase it another way. They may sleep outside of their bedroom. Okay, so they may sleep in the break room at the job, or they may sleep, where they will take a nap in the daytime. Whereas at nighttime, they will customarily sleep in one place at night. And this is customary for most people. is that where they sleep at nighttime is in one place. They sleep in one designated area at night. And there's some wisdom behind this, and that is typically because the sleep at night, when a person sleeps at night, that sleep is typically a sleep that is a deeper sleep. So therefore, an added layer of security usually is needed in order to sleep in such a way and comfortably in such a deep sleep. So therefore, at nighttime, you will find they will sleep inside of their homes. Whereas throughout the day, the sleep that a person will sleep during the day, will take a cat nap, for example, and the like, then this is a sleep that is not as deep as the sleep that one sleeps at nighttime. So being in an area that is a little less secure is okay and suitable for this type of sleep and the like. So this is just some of the wisdoms why typically individuals you find when they sleep at night is different than when they sleep during the day, because their sleep at night is typically different than the manner in which they sleep during the day. Right? So the statement of the author also linked to this first point, where he says, and make wudu. What is intended by wudu? Like al-wudu إذا أطلق يراد به الوضوء الشرعي. That wudu, if it is said like this, then what is intended by it is the legislative wudu, like the wudu for salah, like the wudu that a person they will make before performing the salah. So prior to sleep, then it is from the sunnah that an individual they make wudu, and as homework, inshallah ta'ala, for the listener, right, is that I want you to go and find the hadith that mentions the benefit and the superiority of making wudu before going to sleep. I want you to go and find the hadith of the that mentions the superiority of making wudu before going to sleep. Naam. Bidnillahi ta'ala. And thus the student has to be active and proactive in seeking after the benefits. We can't be from individuals who come to a class, any given class, and think that we're going to get 100% everything from said class. No, it doesn't work. Doesn't work like that. Just like it doesn't work like that in any other place. It's like it doesn't work like that anywhere in the dunya. Likewise, it doesn't work like that here, and as it relates to this. So therefore, an individual, you're going to have to also do your own research that is applicable and related to the subject matter if you truly want to benefit, and take it to that next level. Now, so inshallah ta'ala, again, this is also another indication highlighting that there are other mannerisms, and etiquettes that are related to prior to going to sleep, that inshallah I encourage everyone to go to do some research and to look up those ahadith that are related to the adhkar, to the supplications when going to sleep, and that mention the superiority and the virtue and the benefit that one will get when they make those supplications. Now, when they make those supplications. And bidnillahi ta'ala, this is in benefiting ourselves. This is in concerning ourselves with that which is beneficial to us. This is from spending our time in a good way. Because, many of us, how much time do we waste throughout the day pursuing things that have no real beneficial value to us? And then when it comes to these simple, basic things, like what we're mentioning here, you'll find that there are many of us who are unaware of a lot of aspects of this. And really, that's a shame, because these are things that we should know well. These are things that we should teach our children, that our children should know, and that they should know well, and the like. But when we go over, a lot of times, unfortunately, those things that we know well and how beneficial they are for us in our life, then we find in many cases they have no benefit at all. They have no benefit to us. They don't add no increase to the value of our lives. They don't increase us in any which way, shape, and form. But yet we're very keen to know about it. Whereas things that actually will bring benefit to us, that will increase us, that will increase our situation, and so on and so forth, a lot of times we are lacking as it relates to these particular topics, and that is a shame. That is a shame. Ala kulli hal, in any event, the Shaykh goes on. He mentioned the second affair. Okay, so the first affair was linked to what is meant by madja. What is meant by madja? That's the first affair, and what is meant by wudu. Okay, So madja, then this means the place that you will retire to sleep at nighttime. And what is meant by wudu? The wudu that we will make like before salah. Now that you make wudu before going to bed. And then the second affair is linked to the statement of the author, حفظه ta'ala, as he mentions, he says, وَنَمْ عَلَى شِقِّكَ الْأَيْمَنِ, and to lay down to sleep, yani, on your right side, أي على جنبك الأيمن, on your right side, min jasadik, to lay on your right side, to lay down on your right side, yani, and to sleep on your right side. This is from good etiquette. This is from the good character as relates to sleeping. The third point that is linked to this affair of the etiquettes of sleeping, the etiquettes of getting ready to go to bed, is in his statement, "Watslu ayatul kursi marratan," and to read ayatul kursi one time, and to read ayatul kursi one time. Now, as it is from the sunnah of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam that before going to sleep, then he sallallahu alaihi wasallam, he will read ayatul kursi one time. Now, then he will read ayatul kursi one time. And this is from the sunnah of Mustafa sallallahu alaihi wasallam. So here is an indication, again highlighting, showing us those things that we should be concerning ourselves with, and that is that if there are individuals from us who are unaware of ayatul kursi, then this is an opportunity for them to become familiarized with ayatul kursi. If there are individuals from amongst us who have yet to memorize ayatul kursi, then this is an opportunity for us to memorize ayatul kursi. Ayatul kursi is tremendously important ayah that each and every Muslim, they should know, and they should know it well. Likewise, they should know the meaning of it, and they should study its tafsir, inshallah ta'ala, because there are many occasions that we will utilize this tremendous ayah inside of our daily life, inside of our daily life. So it behooves us to become familiar with it. For those who are unfamiliar with it, and as a review, ayatul kursi, it is the 255th ayah from Surah Al-Baqarah, from the second chapter of the Quran, where Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, he says, Allahu la ilaha illahu al-hayyul qayyum, la ta'khudhuhu sinatun wa la nawm, lahu ma fi as-samawati wa ma fi al-ard, man dha alladhi yashfa'u 'indahu illa bi'idhnihi, ya'lamu ma bayna aydihim wa ma khalfahum, ولا يحيطون بشيء من علمه إلا بما شاء وسع كرسيه السماوات والأرض ولا يؤوده حفظهما وهو العلي العظيم. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, he says here in this tremendous ayah, what translated means, Allah, none has the right to be worshipped in truth but He, the ever living, the one who sustains and protects all that exists. Neither slumber nor sleep overtake him. To him belongs whatsoever is in the heavens and whatsoever is on earth. Who is he that can intercede with him except with his permission? He knows what happens to them, meaning his creatures, in this world, and what will happen to them in the hereafter. And they will never compass anything of his knowledge except that which he wills. His kursi extends over the heavens and the earth, and he feels no fatigue in guarding and preserving them, meaning the heavens and the earth and everything. And he is the most high, the most great. He is the most high, the most great, the most magnificent. This ayatul kursi, there in it a lot of benefit, but again we leave that for the listeners homework to go and seek what is the tafsir of Ayat al-Kursi. Naam, to go and read what is the tafsir of Ayat al-Kursi. And Al-Allama, Al-Shaykh Uthaymeen, rahimahullah ta'ala, he has a tremendous book that has been translated into the English language that explains Ayat al-Kursi. So I encourage the listener, the viewer, to go and find this book, bi'ithnillahi ta'ala, to read it and to study from it, insha'Allah, so that you may benefit. Ala kulli hal, the Shaykh Salih al-Usaymi, the author of this tremendous book, he brings a benefit. He brings a benefit here for the listener, for the viewer, for the reader, for those who read this book. He said, وَسُمِّيَتْ هَذِهِ الْآيَةِ آيَةِ الْكُرْسِي. He said in this ayah, it has been named Ayat al-Kursi. Naam, the Kursi is the footstool, is a footstool. Naam, لِنْفِرَادِهَا بِذِكْرِ الْكُرْسِي الْإِلَهِ, because it is mentioned in it the Kursi of the Most High. Naam, it is mentioned here the Kursi, the footstool of the Most High. Naam, وَلَمْ يَقِعْ ذِكْرُ كُرْسِي الْإِلَهِ في القرآن إلا في هذه الآية. And the mention of the Kursi, it is not mentioned in the Quran except in this ayah. This is the only ayah in the Quran that mentions the Kursi of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So there is a benefit for us from that standpoint, in that this is the only ayah in the Quran that mentions the Kursi of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And what is meant by tilawa huna, what is meant by tilawa a qira'ah, it means to read it, right? What's meant by recital here, or tilawa, it means here that you read it or you recite it, okay? Well, aslu tilawa, and this is because in the language, the origin of the word tilawa, it means al-ittiba', and this is a benefit again from a language standpoint, that in the language, tilawa, the origin meaning of it, or the original meaning of it, right, or its origin is that what it means, al-ittiba', it means to follow. It means to follow. Tilawa, yani al-ittiba', it means to follow something. Okay? Wa tatanawwa'u ma'aniha bihasbi mawaqi'iha min al-kalam, and its meaning will change depending upon where it is in the context of the speech. So depending upon the context that is used inside of the speech, then that will determine the meaning of tilawa. Okay? So here, وَمِنْهَا تِلَاوَةُ الْقُرْآنِ, and from the meanings that enter into what is the word tilawa is meaning like the tilawa of the Quran, meaning to recite, the recital. Now, a person may say, well, what is the connection between the meaning inside of the language and the meaning here as used in this context, right? Because in the language, it means that one thing follows another thing, okay? Tilawa al-ittiba', that one thing will follow something else, okay? Like this, they'll follow each other. Okay, like, so how do we get recital from this? How do we get a recitation from this meaning? The Shaykh, he mentions, which is a very good point of benefit from the language standpoint, a qira'atuhu bittiba' ba'dihi ba'dan, that here it means recital because when you recite something, portions of it follow other portions. So when you recite the ayah, when you recite the Quran, they're going to be words that follow other words, and you have to bring them together, follow them up one by one together, and that's why it's called, referred to as tilawa, because the words are following other words. The words are following other words, and you have to bring them together. Now, that makes sense? But the fourth affair is that in his statement, wajma' kafayk, and bring together your kafayk. طيب وهما باطنا اليد. And what is the kaf? The kaf, then it means and is referred to here as the inside of the hand. Now, the kaf, what is meant by kaf here is the inside of the hand, right? That you bring them together, right? فكل يد لها كف هي باطنها. So every hand, because again, remember in the Arabic language, a hand can refer to anything from your fingertips to here, right? To your elbow. All of this is the hand, yed. Okay? But what is intended by yed here, it means kef. And this is this, right? This portion of it. And what is intended primarily from this portion, then it means the inside of the inside of the hand, right? Your palms. That means your palms. That makes sense? Okay. So when the Shaykh he says, and bring them together, it means you will bring your hands together in the manner like when you make dua. Like when you make dua and you bring your hands together, when you make dua, then this is what it means by you bring your hands together like this, like when you make dua. But you will bring it close to you. Now, so it wouldn't be like, with your hands extended away from you, but you will bring your hands together close to you, like when you make dua, like this. And you will recite unto your hands. And that brings us to the fifth point from the eight points that the Shaykh mentions as related to the etiquette of going to bed. And that is waqra fihima. And you recite into them, meaning what? Your palms. You read into your palms, right? Like this. You bring them close to your face, and then you recite into them. You recite into your palms. What do you recite into your palms? You recite into your palms Surah Al-Ikhlas, Surah Al-Ikhlas, wa Mu'awwidhatayn. And you recite the last two chapters of the Quran. And you recite the last two chapters of the Quran. Now, and you recite the last two chapters of the Quran. Like Surah Al-Ikhlas, then we know this is Allah Ta'ala's statement, قُلْ هُوَ اللَّهُ أَحَدٌ, to the end of the chapter. Now, and the last two chapters of the Quran, then we know they are قُلْ أَعُوذُ بِرَبِّ الْفَلَقِ, to the end of the chapter. And the last chapter of the Quran, then we know it is قُلْ أَعُوذُ بِرَبِّ النَّاسِ, to the end of the chapter. Now, so again, these are very important chapters. So if we don't know them yet, then we should strive to learn them because they are tremendously important. And these chapters, we will use them multiple times every day. Now, multiple times every single day. So it behooves us to memorize them now, so that we have them with us always. And the Shaykh he mentions, he says that we will read inside of them, meaning in what? Inside of our hands, these chapters 3 times. Ayatul Kursi is once, one time. Whereas when we recite the last 3 chapters of the Quran into our hands, we make it like this, then we'll do that 3 times. Okay? That brings us to the sixth aspect of good character and from the etiquettes of going to sleep. And that is, as the Shaykh mentions, وَنْفُثْ فِيهِمَا, that we will spittle inside of our hands. Now, and the spittle inside of the hands, then this will come after all 3 chapters are recited. After all 3 chapters are recited, and when you recite them, you're going to recite inside your hand, into your hand, and then you're going to spittle. Now, and this is what is meant by one fourth. Bihima, one fourth. It means to spittle. Bihima, في كفيك, the inside of our palms. Then we're going to spittle. نعم, we're going to spittle. والنفث هو النفخ مع ريق لطيف. Then it is يعني as like when يعني يكون الهواء يعني مندفع من الفم مصحوبا بريق لطيف منه, that we will breathe out, and they will be accompanied with this breath that goes into our hands, light pieces of spittle. Yani, I don't know how else to say it in English except yani, we will spittle inside of our hands, like this, not spit, no, but spittle. Makes sense? Like, we will spittle inside of our hands 3 times. Now, or excuse me, we'll spittle inside of our hands. And the whole of this will be done 3 times. And the Sheikh is going to mention how is the manner of doing all of this 3 times, right? Because it doesn't mean that we'll recite and then we, 3 times. No. But the Sheikh is going to mention, okay? So, then we will spittle inside of our hands. And then, after we spittle inside of our hands, this brings us to the to the 7th point of etiquette of the good manners and etiquettes of getting ready to go to sleep. And that is وَامْسَحْ بِهِمَا مَا اسْتَطَعْتَ مِنْ جَسَدِكَ, is that you will wipe with them what you are able to reach from your body. That you will wipe with them after you've recited and then spittled, and then you will wipe what you are able to reach from your body. وَالْمَسْحْ هُوَ إمرار, and what is meant by mash here, to touch, was meant here means to rub. So then you will rub on your body whatever you are able to reach. فإذا قرأ السورة ثلاثة السور الثلاث, so once you have read the 3 chapters, ثم نفث في كفي أو في كفي, and then he will blow, meaning spittle, inside of his hands. Then مسح بكفيه ما استطاع من جسده, then he will wipe what he was able to wipe from his body. أي ما يصل إليه عادة دون تكلف, meaning that which he was able to wipe customarily, ordinarily, without any type of exaggeration or without any type of going like extra effort or extending himself beyond that which is customary and ordinary, meaning that he will reach what he was able to reach على حال التي هو عليها من الامتداد, meaning he would reach whatever he was able to reach from the position that he was in. He wouldn't go beyond bounds, or he wouldn't go to reach and put forth an unnecessary effort to reach things that he was unable to reach, that were outside of his reach. نعم. فالممتد على ظهره عند إرادة نومه إذا جمع كفيه وقرأ ثم نفث ثم أراد المسح بالغ في المسح فيهما ينال يده عادة من جسده. نعم. ولم يتكلف ما يبعد عنه عادة. نعم, is that when a person will get ready, so they would sit down on the edge of the bed and the like, they will recite, or they will sit up in the bed and they will recite, right? And then they bring their hands together, right? Then they will recite, then they will spittle inside of their hands, and then they will wipe whatever they were able to reach from their body. But they will wipe whatever they were able to comfortably reach from their body without putting a burden upon themselves by reaching to those parts that were far from them, that without the further extension they wouldn't be able to reach. So they would reach what they can reach from their body, and that was it. Naam. And this is what is from the Sunnah. And the Shaykh, he highlights something that is a mistake that individuals do, and he says فَمِنَ الْخَطَأِ الْوَاقِعِ, and from the mistakes that happen, and that is what رَدُّ شَيْءٍ مِنْ الْجَسَدِ ابْتِغَاءَ مَسْحِ. نعم. فإنه من الناس من يرد رجله الثانية الثانيا لها حتى يمسح قدمه. and from people is that they will extend, they will bring up their leg, they will bring their leg all the way up until they're able to wipe their foot, right? They'll bring their leg all the way up until they're able to wipe their foot. ثم يفعل بيده الأخرى مثل ذلك, and then he'll do the same thing with the other foot. ويبالغ في إمرار كفيه على جسده, so he will go, he will extend, he will unnecessarily extend and reach areas from his body so that they reach the whole of the body, so that he reach all of the body. And the Shaykh, he says, وَهَذَا مُخَالِفٌ, and this is contrary. This is contrary to what is proper. This is contrary to what is proper لِوَارِدِ فِي الْحَدِيثِ, because of that which has comes inside of the hadith. فَإِنَّ وَارِدِ فِي الْحَدِيثِ, because what comes inside of the hadith is that أَن يُمْسَحَ بِهِمَا مَا اسْتَطَاعَ مِنْ جَسَدِهِ, that the Prophet ﷺ, he used to wipe what he was able to reach from his body. That's it. That he will wipe whatever he was able to naturally and comfortably reach from his body from that position. وَمَا يَصِلُ إِلَيْهِ عَادَةً دُونَ تَكَلُّفٍ, and what he was able to reach customarily and naturally without overextending. So it is not from the sunnah that an individual, they touch every part of their body, but rather whatever they are able to reach comfortably, then this is what they will touch, this is what they will wipe. Now, and when a person will do that, then they will begin by wiping their face and their head, right? So they will recite, right? They will spittle, and then they will wipe their face, they wipe their head, and what they're able to reach comfortably from their body. Now, this is how they would do it. Whatever they're comfortable to reach from their body. And the eighth and the last affair as linked to this particular topic and what was presented by the Shaykh, حفظه ta'ala, and that is في قوله, inside of his statement, تفعل ذلك ثلاثا, and they will do this 3 times. They will do it 3 times. نعم. أي تكرر القراءة والنفث والنفث والمسح, is that they will repeat the reciting, the spittle, and the wiping. That they will repeat these 3 times. مرة بعد مرة. They will do it one after another, right? So in other words, let's break it down so it's easy. Person, he brings his hands together, okay? They recite the last 3 surahs. Then they spittle inside their hands, right? Then they wipe their body, what they're able to reach from their body. That's 1 time. Then again, put their hands together. They recite the last 3 chapters. They will spittle the side of their hands. Then they will wipe what they're able to reach. That's 2 times. Then they put their hands together, recite the last 3 chapters, spittle inside of their hands, wipe what they're able to reach 3 times. That's how they will do it. Now, that's how they will do it. And this is from the sunnah of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, to do it like that. So, my question to everyone, right? Before you go to sleep, how does that look for you? Does it look like this? Because this is from the etiquettes of going to sleep, and this is from the prophetic sunnah, and there's a lot of benefit that are contained therein, and there are other adhkar, supplications that an individual could make, and the like. But the Shaykh, he brings a added benefit, and then he mentions that this type of spittle and reciting of these 3 chapters, then there comes 2 situations inside of the deen, 2 situations inside a person will need in his life, where he would utilize this same method. The same method that was aforementioned, They utilize the same method. They come two different times. أحدهما, the first, النفث بها عند النوم وهو مذكور هنا, and that is to spittle inside of their hands and to wipe and so on and so forth, right? And you reciting these 3 chapters like what we're talking about right now, okay? Wait, what's the second time that we'll use this? Because this is this stuff we need to know. When's the second time that we can use this, that we can recite these 3 chapters, right, into our hands, spittle in our hands, and then wipe? When is that second time? The Shaykh, he mentions when وَالنَّفْذُ بِهَا عِنْدَ الْمَرَضِ, is when a person is sick. When a person is sick, this is from the ways that we make ruqya على من على نفسه, upon himself, أو على غيره, or upon other than himself. Now, so now let me ask you this. When you get sick, or your child gets sick, or your wife gets sick, right? Is this from your treatment? Do you treat that said sickness, said ailment with this? Because if not, why not? How come you don't use it? There's a lot of benefit in it. This is from the legislative medicine. And this is from those medicines that require no resources. You don't have to spend money to buy this medicine. You don't need a prescription. I need to go and fill this medicine. You don't have to go to the drugstore in order to get this medicine. It's free. It's at your disposal. So if we're not using it, the answer becomes why? How come we're not using it? We should use it. This is beneficial. This is extremely beneficial, right? على كل حال, the Shaykh, he mentions, he says that this is the manner that a person will use. So when a person is sick, right, you suffer from a sickness, and you want to make ruqya upon yourself, then this is what you would do. You will recite inside your hand, spittle, and then wipe, right? Likewise, a person can do it for themselves, or they can do it upon other than themselves. So they can do it for someone else. So they can, recite, spittle, and then wipe over their child, or wipe over their spouse, or wipe over the sick person, right? This is medicine we should be utilizing. And if not, why not? Why not? How come we're not using it? على كل حال, and all of this, as the Shaykh, he mentioned, is done 3 times, as it comes inside of the hadith of Aisha رضي الله تعالى عنها. وروى البخاري في الصحيح من حديث عائشة رضي الله تعالى عنها أن النبي صلى الله عليه وسلم إذا أوى إلى فراشه كل ليلة, that the Prophet صلى الله عليه وسلم, my mother Aisha, she narrated that the Prophet صلى الله عليه وسلم, that when he would retire to bed every night, right, جمع كفيه, he would bring his hands together, right, ثم نفث فيهما فقرأ فيهما, he would spittle inside of them, and then he would recite inside of them. Now, as we know what is intended is that he would bring his hands together, he would recite it, then he would spit. Okay, but he would recite قل هو الله أحد قل أعوذ برب الفلق وقل أعوذ برب الناس. نعم, he would recite that. ثم يمسح بهما ما استطاع من جسده, and then he would wipe what he was able to reach from his body, right? Like ويبدأ بهما على رأسه ووجهه, and he will start that with his head and face. Now, so he will recite, and then he will start wiping with what? With his head and with his face, like this. He will start wiping. Okay. وما أقبل من جسده, and what he was able to reach from his body. Right? And again, remember, what a person's able to reach from their body without overextending themselves beyond what they can easily reach. That makes sense? Like, and then our mother Aisha radiallahu ta'ala anha, she said, وَيَفْعَلُ ذَلِكَ ثَلَاثَ مَرَّاتٍ, and then he would do that 3 times. And that's why the Shaykh, he mentions, and do it 3 times. Okay? But also, what could be recited and what should be recited before going to sleep, and this is an additional benefit. The Shaykh mentioned is additional benefit, and is kind of helping you a little bit with the homework now by mentioning this one. But there's more stuff too. But so I don't want you to say, oh, but you said it, so it's no homework, right? No, it's still homework. I'm not gonna give you all the answers, but I'll give you a couple more. Okay, is that what? Well, I'll give you one more. Right, give me one more. And is that to recite as it comes in a hadith? Yani hadith mutafaqun alayh is hadith that is agreed upon by Bukhari and Muslim, and it's from the hadith of Abi Mas'ud radiallahu ta'ala anhu عن النبي صلى الله عليه وسلم that the Prophet صلى الله عليه وسلم said من قرأ بالآيتين من آخر سورة البقرة في الليلة كفتاه, that whoever recites the last two chapters, the last two verses, whoever recites the last two verses from Surah Al-Baqarah in a night time, then it will suffice them. It will suffice them. Now, so if you recite the last two verses from the second chapter, the last two verses from the second chapter from Surah Al-Baqarah, then it will suffice an individual for that night. Now, again, this is an opportunity for us. If we don't know the last two verses from Surah Al-Baqarah, to memorize them, to take some time and invest in ourselves and to memorize these two verses. This is very important. Now, especially the youth. It's the summertime now, and the youth, they are not in school. Okay, it's summer vacation. So over the summer vacation, you should have a list of things you want to accomplish, deen-wise. Okay, it's like the school, they may in their syllabus, they may have summer reading, where there's certain books you have to read in the summertime, and all this type of stuff. Okay, but you should have even more enthusiasm and an even better list for what you're going to accomplish deen wise. So everyone should have goals of that which they want to accomplish during the break from school. Okay, and from those goals, that if you don't have it, you should put it on your list of goals. Is that you should memorize Ayatul Kursi if you have not memorized it, and you should memorize the last two verses from Surah Al-Baqarah. Now, that should be on your summertime learning list. Okay, and some of the adhkar that are connected to going to sleep and the etiquettes of going to sleep. Now, and the like. So again, just as to reiterate, the homework for those who will undertake it and who are concerned about benefiting themselves is to go over those proofs and those evidences that mention the adhkar, the supplications that are to be recited before going to sleep, to look at the merit and the benefit and the superiority of those adhkar and how one will benefit and what they will get if they would recite them, and so on and so forth. And to memorize and to make sure to go over Ayatul Kursi, the last two verses from Surah Al-Baqarah, and if they have not memorized the last three chapters of the Quran, to memorize the last three chapters of the Quran, because these are things that we're going to need daily in our day-to-day. Now, and it's important that stuff you're going to need in your day-to-day, that you get it. You understand? And this is going to be of extreme benefit. And this is from those traits and those characteristics of good character. The person that has good character, you will find that they are a person who they employ these traits, these etiquettes prior to going to sleep and when they go to sleep each and every night. And we ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to make us of those who have good character. Allah ta'ala yuwaffiqni wa iyyakum lima yuhibbuhu wa yarda, wa an yaj'alana mubarakan haythuma kunna, wa an yaj'alana mimman idha u'tiya shakar wa dhubtuliya sabar wa idha adhnaba istaghfar fa inna ha'ula'i thalath unwan as-sa'ada. هذا إلا اللقاء. استودعكم الله Wassalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.